Welcome to Tinker, Tailor, Solder, Fry with me, Ian Horner, and with me today is Heather Deary.
Hello.
Hi, welcome to one of our new shows here on the Loading Ready Live network. Tinker, Tailor, Solder, Fry is all about creativity. Doing projects that you wish you could do, but maybe don't have the courage to do right off the bat. I want to get this right out there in the front, but this is not a how-to show. We're going to be doing these projects maybe the wrong way, maybe not the way you'd like us to do it.
Absolutely the wrong way. Absolutely the wrong way.
But we're not here to show you how to do something. Think of it more as inspirational entertainment, that you can actually just do a thing if you put your mind to it. And if you screw up, well, maybe you can fix it, maybe you can't, but at least you tried. So what we're going to do here today is a project that we've had on the books ever since we made the move to the new Moonbase, which is take this old fridge, the old Moonbase fridge, which you may remember from previous videos as harboring a dangerous organism. It has since been cleaned. It is now safe to be used once again for its intended purpose, which is cooling, but we're going to change its intended purpose from the cooling of food and beverages to the cooling of just beverages, and now also the dispensing of beverages. We're going to turn it into a Kegerator. And then later on in the show, we're going to turn things over to Heather. And what are you going to do today, Heather?
I'm going to take this hat and I'm going to make a pattern for it without taking it apart and sacrificing its life.
Ooh, exciting.
Because while it's worn, it's not dead yet.
we need to
Why
copy.
would you do that?
We need to copy it while
My
it's
eyes
still
were so
alive.
large. Paul.
So let's get started. No sense beating around the bush. I've done this project once before, but it's been so long that I don't actually remember exactly how to do it, which is exactly kind of how we want, is how we want to proceed with these projects here on Tinker, Tailor, Solder, Fry. Going in blind. Maybe a little bit of pre-prep, but not much.
I read a thing about how to do mine. I don't remember half of it now. Mm-hmm. I hope you remember enough.
We'll figure it out as we go along. But before we get into taking this thing apart and cutting the holes necessary, we've got some goodies that we need to go through. So we're going to do a not unboxing of some of the equipment we ordered to make this conversion happen. So let's get right into it. We ordered our conversion kit from beerkegs.com. Other providers of kegging equipment are available. We got our hose.
Back up a little bit.
Sure. We got our, this I believe is the...
Maybe you should pull your head back.
Yep, there we go. Hey!
You'll
Thank
figure it
you
out.
to Boxnard
I
for
can hold the box up
then we can
and
just
watch
zoom in a bit
Twitch at
here.
the same time.
There we go. Okay, so we got our air hoses for to connect the CO2 tank to the distributor cap. Let's put those on the table. We also have the distributor for the gases in nozzles and out nozzles, because we're going to need to make things nice and fizzy. Got some bubble wrap.
That is not what the chat wants. They want silica gels.
I don't know if we have any silica gel in here.
Well, you better get some.
Here's some exciting stuff. Now, if you're going to do something like this, you should always have some form of cutting handy. My handy dandy utility key. All right, what do we got in here? Got our gas adapters. We're going to be using some ball jointed kegs. We'll get into that in a second. We've got these should be the out nozzles. We need those. Ooh, here we go. Here's something fun. This is the tap from which we will dispense the beer. Not much to see there yet. Maybe we'll get into that. And various bits and bobs in terms of crimpers and tap handles. Point is, everything is here that we need. That's
So
good.
you basically bought a kit.
Yeah, we bought a kit of all the parts we need, but we still need to assemble.
Self-made kit.
Yeah. Let's have a look at what's in here, because I don't know. I only tried to make sure that everything on the list was what we needed. All right. Oh, hey.
It's shiny.
This is our CO2 canister, which...
Does it come with CO2?
No, it does not, thankfully. Otherwise, this would be a lot heavier. This is really nice and shiny. We're going to have to get that filled, which will be an issue because the gas place is only open during times when I work. What's in here? Oh, I think I know what this is. I think this is our actual tap, or a tower. Yep. So this is the tower out of which the hoses run. And then you can attach you can see the attachments for the taps up here. And that's going to be important later on. And in here, ooh, okay, this is fun. This is our regulator.
How is a regulator fun, Ian?
This is what makes sure that you can control the how much gas actually gets into, the pressure of the gas that's going to be going into your tanks. That's going to be fun. But we'll get to all that in due time.
I think we have different definitions of the word fun.
Are these the same as the parts that you used on your own kegerator?
These are not exactly the same parts that I used on my own home kegerator. I opted for a double pressure regulator, but I think we can get by with a single pressure here. I haven't had many instances where I need to use two different pressures, so single is probably going to be fine.
Just so the chat's aware, I am monitoring your actions. So if you have questions for Ian, I will try and relay them.
Please pass it on. And here.
That's not Jesus, Peach.
This is not Jesus. Here's the dirty stuff. These are our two refurbished Cornelius kegs. And they are filthy because some of you may have seen these if you've been to summer camp or some other place, community associations. These are essentially old pop kegs. If I remember correctly, there are two different varieties of pop kegs that are pretty popular with homebrewers. There's the Cornelius keg is the name of the keg itself. The two varieties have to do with the type of valves you have here. And these standoffs are either pin lock or ball lock. And they're called that because of the way that these connectors actually lock in. So if you look inside there, let's see if we can get a shot inside. Oh yeah, well maybe I'll just jam it in there myself. If you look inside there, you can see the little balls. Those are what actually attach themselves to the edge of the post. In a pin lock keg, you'd have pins instead of those balls. Just not that really matters, but it's something fun. The reason that we went with ball lock is because that's what I've got at home. That's what I've got my experience with, and it's a little bit easier to find ball lock parts. So they're refurbished kegs. They should be just fine. They're probably going to need a hell of a cleaning. Let's find out how filthy these are inside.
Oh, goodness.
Well, that one smells like cola. Oh, and it still has some cola in it. So these are going to be...
you should show.
Yeah, hold on a second. I'm going to get you inside there.
Show, don't tell.
Ooh, that...
Yeah, that definitely smells like cola.
You say show, don't tell. Well, if you wanted to know smell, don't tell.
Can we smell-o-vision that somehow?
So in there...
Ugh.
Need more light?
Yeah, maybe a bit more light.
There we go.
Does Alex have... Alex
There
has
we
way
go.
better
Oh,
light.
wow.
So that's...
Okay, yeah. I've seen this footage before. It was inside the Chernobyl sarcophagus.
Now, there's a couple reasons I'm guessing why this hasn't molded over completely. We're probably going to want to rinse these out tonight, actually.
Yeah.
First of all, the acidity of cola, I think, has a lot to do with it.
That smells like pork soda.
And secondly, you use CO2, which creates an anaerobic environment. which keeps
What's anaerobic?
non-oxygenated, which means not able to
Ian, I have
grow
a
dead
question
things.
for
Yes.
Professor Pester. Do you have safety protocols in place?
Do I have safety protocols in place?
In case anyone gets hurt tonight?
Well, we've got a number of people in the room here with cell phones. We have a clear path to the door, and
Did we check on that fire extinguisher?
we do know that
There is a fire extinguisher in the building.
we do know that a fire extinguisher exists.
We
I
didn't
think
check it to make sure it was good.
you know where it is. So those are our parts,
All right.
and we'll be taking them and shoving them onto this thusly. So, from my experience with these, what we're going to do is we're going to drill a hole in through the top here, because this particular brand of fridge is one that's pretty popular with converters. Simply because we can see, if we open it up, that, ow, all of the cooling elements are in the back here on this rack. And there should be nothing on top here except for maybe a little electrical work for the light that we can hopefully avoid by drilling a hole. But we're not going to be cutting through anything important. But before we get to the cutting, we're going to need to disassemble some parts here. Some parts that we will no longer need. So let's get started by just removing those.
Has the fridge been cleaned?
The fridge has been cleaned once by Serge. It hasn't been cleaned since then. But a lot of the dirty parts we're not actually going to
That's dust.
need. This
That's not bad.
this is all coming out. And the reason for that is that your kegs are not going to fit in the fridge with all of this detritus on the inside of the door. Let me show you that.
Detritus. I think you mean detritus.
I think I mean detritus. I'm being told
Detritus and solder.
I'm being told by my producers that I mean detritus.
Solder is hilarious.
It is.
I'm being told by the chat that we have warning lights behind us, therefore we are sufficiently safe.
Okay, good. So, yeah,
I'm not sure
You
about
just
this logic.
can't get it in there. So that's got to come out, which is going to mean peeling some stuff back. But before we get to that, let's get this top off, because that is something that's a lot easier to do.
May I clear this box away for you?
Please do.
Look at this other keg. Rinse it.
Thank you, Alex. All right, for that we're going to need some tools. I'm going to use my own tools. They're Master Grip. I'm not sure who makes them or what country makes them, but they've served me pretty well for a while, and they do the job.
I mean, they all say China on them.
Well, then they're probably made in China, aren't they? So there's just
Really?
3 screws back here that need to come off. And I should have brought along a cup to put these in, because it's always good.
Hey, Alex, could you grab us a cup, please?
A what?
A cup.
Anything to hold screws. Wow.
Here, I can hang on to them until he
Yeah,
gets
there
here.
can hold on to those.
I have
Let's
hands.
bring that there, just in case that's a better shot. All right, let's see if we can get that off. There we go. Now something's still, thank you. Something's still holding that on, so I think there might be some more screws there that we need to get out. So let's flip that around again. I should also mention, just for those who might be curious, that yes, the fridge is unplugged at the moment. All right, move around. Yep, so there's 3 more screws underneath here, up in those areas. And that's holding this plastic top on. So let's get those out.
Ian, do you know if this is going to be uploaded to the Loading Ready Live channel or the main channel?
I believe that is a decision that hasn't been made yet.
It has not been made yet as a decision.
Watch this space to find out.
Watch
Ooh,
both channels.
so here's some interesting things. That just comes off and there's nothing underneath. And that's actually interesting. So this is a difference from the time that I made my own Kegerator, which will become relevant later on. you'll note that in here, you've got this grid of plastic that goes around. In my kegerator, I did not have this plastic in here, and so what I've done, it's going to come up, is actually cut a piece of wood to fit in here to allow the tower to actually mount to give it some more stability. So what we're probably going to have to do is actually snap off cleanly all this plastic to cut the wood to get in there. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. For now, ever forward. Free styrofoam. That's also new. That's some quality workmanship right there. Probably have to replace that. Okay, so now we have the top of the fridge. Here comes the exciting part. I think we're actually getting right into the part where we start drilling. Let's see here.
Screw it up once.
Yeah, I can only screw this up once. This is the scary part, actually.
You have a ruler.
So normally, what I'd be doing here is, if this were an unfamiliar fridge, I'd recommend putting down dusting a layer of flour on there, and then spraying that with alcohol and turning the fridge on. And the reason for that is that if there are coils going up here, the colder air will cause a difference in the way that the alcohol or water evaporates, so you can actually start seeing where there might be cooling lines. But because I know this fridge, at least I'm pretty sure I know this fridge, I don't think I need to do that.
You're intimately familiar.
Ian, will you be wearing goggles while you're drilling? The chat is very concerned
Yes,
about your
I will
safety.
be. I will in fact be wearing goggles and ear protection while I'm drilling, so have no fear there. But I do want to get the rest of the electronics out of here before I do anything else. So let's bring the Winter camera.
Of course I have safety glasses on, chat. Ian is doing something really unexpected and dangerous, and I don't want to die.
All right. Let's have a look underneath here. Just a couple of screws that need to come out. No, didn't quite get it. And there's one more.
So what part of the fridge is that you're unscrewing?
Right now we're just unscrewing the temperature control and the light. And we're probably going to want to remove the light actually as well.
I was going to say, isn't the temperature control relevant?
The temperature control is relevant. We will be replacing the temperature control back into the fridge. But we don't want it up against where the hole is going to come out.
I was going to say, isn't that where the tower comes down?
Yes, it is. Well, yes. Yes, it is.
That's awkward.
They can't hear what I'm saying. But probably.
Definitely repeat that. There's a third screw in there which needs to come out. I just realized. So let's get right down there. Now I can see.
You're fine.
Okay. There we go. Okay. Now it's out. So we can see the electrics up here.
You need the screw cup.
Yeah, thank you.
Act with integrity.
The electrics are connected in such a way that, God, I hope I don't drill through those.
You have to off-center it, maybe?
Might have to off-center that a bit. I'm going to have to put some thought into this now.
As opposed to the not thought you put into it before?
Yeah, as opposed to the non-thought. Acting on instinct. Let's just take this more apart and see if I can figure out where it's going. Okay. So it looks like they don't go directly back. I hope I'm correct in that matter. If not, that's okay. Wires are actually surprisingly easy to fix. Especially when they're color-coded like that.
Because the color coded for your ability to fix them, yeah.
But if you want to get back in here, I'll have to let you have a look at the temperature control itself. So we'll probably want to get our multimeter in there, but what we're going to end up doing is, oh God, this is supremely easy. Yeah, we're just going to basically remove these, which hook up to the light and maybe short circuit those. And it looks like this goes to somewhere unimportant. And that's our switch for the light. Okay. Well, ever forward.
Just gonna tear the whole thing apart.
Is that going to be our slogan for this show?
Ever forward. I think it might end up being. Well, you know what? Let's do more disassembly here first before we end up breaking everything. Let's get this section off the door.
Okay.
So that's an easy part. That's just more unscrewing. And so far, all the screws that we've got here are of a uniform variety, so we don't need to remember which screws go where.
I'm sure we have other cups around the moon base if we really need.
Yeah. So we're looking at why am I doing all this screwing by hand? That's actually a really good question. I'm not even sure myself. Okay.
Because you didn't bring a drill driver?
I did bring a drill driver.
You need a screw gun?
It's, well, an actual drill with a driver bit on it would also work just fine. So there's going to be a few up here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it looks like. Across the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. 5 across the top. Oh, I think I just remembered something too about this.
Oh, what's that?
Well, we're
Is
not.
it important?
Yeah, it's actually very important, and we're not going to be able to finish this whole project today. Now that I think about it, because I don't have all my materials.
What'd you forget?
I forgot that this plastic is actually structural to the to this magnetic vapor barrier. The skirting. It actually holds the skirting in place. So what we're going to have to do later is create a square piece of plastic for which to mount in here. If I recall, that was a real unpleasant thing to do the first time. Hooray for magnetic screw drivers. The other thing I wanted to mention about this show is that you're going to be watching a lot of things happen in real time, because we don't want this to be, because it's not a do-it-yourself show. We didn't want to have any of those sorts of segments where I just go slightly off camera and say, "Here's one I prepared earlier."
Also, that means we'd have to prepare one earlier.
Yes, which
Yeah.
would be, and preparing one earlier would be a real.
I'm not sure that not having a
Hassle.
prepared one doesn't make this a do-it-yourself show.
This is more of a let's struggle.
Yeah.
Let's struggle is a very good term for it. I also like let's try.
Yep. Well, and let's succeed, because we are going to succeed.
Let's succeed because we are going to succeed.
Yes.
I'm in favor of that.
Let's do.
Do what has to be done and live up to our family name and face full life consequence.
Someone in the chat asks why not remove the door for ease of access.
That's a really good question. Why not remove the door?
Not making it that hard.
Actually, it would probably be more work to remove the door than it's worth at this point. Because if you come up here on top, removing the door would require removing all these and then fitting it back into place. And this is, I'm not really gaining much by removing the door. Okay, if you pull it back here, you can see what I'm talking about. That this is all plastic, but that's the actual superstructure of the can holder.
Yeah.
And then this is just the door. So when we remove this, there's nothing that's going to hold this
Hang on.
barrier in place.
Come on.
And for those of you in home in the studio audience, you don't get to experience that lovely old fridge smell.
Heck, I'm not close enough to the fridge to experience it, and I'm thankful.
Okay. Again, I also want to reiterate that, again, this is not a how-to show. Remember, we may be doing things wrong. We may be doing things in a way that you might not do it yourself. But we're doing it.
Remember, we will be doing things wrong. We will be doing things in a way you wouldn't do them.
You are going to scream at the monitor.
I expect people to scream at the monitor, especially ones who already know how to do the things we're trying to do.
Yep.
They do that already.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's like playing a video game when you already know how to do it and someone's struggling for the first time.
It's not always a bad thing to make suggestions in chat because we can just straight out not have to say those out loud. So that's not so bad.
Ian, I kind of wish we still had captions because you could say fridge kegger assembly blind.
Alex is saying that he wishes that we actually had captions on these streams still, so that we could just point out at the bottom of the screen, doing fridge disassembly, blind.
What's our any percent on this?
What's our any percent?
Sending it right now.
Okay, looks like we got 5 more screws here.
Okay, I'm gonna go right to the ground.
No one said this had to be pretty.
That's correct. We never did say that.
There is nothing, no one has to be dignified when they're doing a project. You just have to do it like you mean it. All right. There's just not enough. My screwdriver is magnetized, but it's just weak enough that it can't pull the screws out of their final resting place. But if I drop them, or not if, when I drop them, at least it can pick them up again.
Do you want a second hand?
No, I'm good with a second hand.
Ian, I have a question from the chat, but I don't understand it. So if it doesn't make sense, you
Sure.
can tell me. They want to know what your splits are.
There's a joke here that I'm not familiar with.
You're setting your splits right now.
I'm setting my splits right now.
I don't know what that means, but
All right, one more screw. One more screw, then we can be done with this portion.
That's the spirit.
Before you speed run, you have to practice the speed run.
I'm also being asked why not lay the fridge on its side.
It's easier for me to go down.
And the camera.
Okay, that's it. And Alex is helpfully making sure that this doesn't fall on my face.
That's a good friend. Good friend there.
All right, and you can just let it go.
Still attached
Oh,
there.
I think we do have one more. Yep, you're
Yeah,
right.
just that corner.
Thanks. Yep, missed that guy. All right.
I'm helping!
Beat you on camera.
I know.
That's it. Okay. So, here's the inside of our fridge. It is kind of disgusting. We're going to need all those screws later on.
So
Maybe.
many.
So yeah, we're looking at straight, I don't know, it's insulation? Oh no, that's some paper. Maybe tape on top of insulation.
Asbestos.
This is all asbestos. And hey, look. If we go back to the wide, more free styrofoam.
Hey.
I don't think we need that. It's amazing how much stuff is just constructed with tape. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to take this off slowly. Oof. This is going to be
Did you need those tools moved out of the way?
tight. No, that's all right.
You're gonna need this table space at some point.
At some point. Let's just move the camera out of the way here. So, this... Oh god, this is filthy. Wow, there's broken glass in here.
Wait, what?
Fantastic.
Oh!
Yep.
You want the vacuum?
We're gonna need the vacuum eventually. Not right yet, but... So the question is how to get this off without completely ruining it. Now, honestly, because we don't actually need the plastic piece, I'm just inclined to break it out.
I like breaking things. Seems like a good start.
It's true, but we do need to make sure that we don't break it so much that we can't get the measurements that we could just take the measurements from the door. But I'd prefer to actually take the measurements of what goes inside the plastic bit. What I think's happened here is that they put it together and then they actually plaster-welded the edges. So, yeah, let's just snap a corner.
That is not acquiring the focus I need.
Yeah, that lens doesn't like you.
It does not.
Okay, this corner does not want to snap, but that's okay.
Can you cut it?
I don't think I need to cut it, actually. I don't think I need to cut it. Yeah, there we go. There we go. I managed to get... And then that just slips right out like that. Great, now we have trash, which I will hand off to my off-screen partners. Okay, so here we go. Let me show... Ooh, before I do that, let me check under here. Okay, so the broken glass is contained, so we'll have to deal with that later, but
Parking lot.
yeah, we'll put that in the parking lot. But let me get the USB camera here so I can show off what I'm talking about. Obviously, there has been some broken glasses in this fridge, and they've been swept in. You can see a couple shards there. And I want to show off my bit of my failure. When getting that out, I did pull the plastic weld just a bit, but I think that'll be fine. I don't think there's much lost there. So for safety's sake, I'm going to hand this off to my off-screen partner, this side down, because that's where all the glass is, and hopefully they can shake that out, yeah, in the parking lot. I thought we were making a business joke there about the parking lot being something you come back to later, and not the actual parking lot where
You're
people...
talking about like a meeting metaphor.
Exactly.
I was thinking of paving the parking lot.
Oh, for
'Cause,
paradise.
Paradise.
So that's what a fridge sounds like when you close it without the magnetic vapor barrier. Okay. I guess now is the moment of truth.
Are you just putting that off?
Except not, because
You're just putting it off.
because we do have to take measurements, because we have one more piece of equipment. This was donated by cast member Beej. This is a drip tray. Hooray! Because I didn't have one of these at home, so I've just been using folded up paper towel like a super scrub.
Super scrub.
And Beej ordered a couple of these off Amazon because he heard we were doing that. They've got the little fingers on them. But what I need to do is make sure that we move the tap back far enough so that this thing doesn't flop off the edge.
You brought measuring equipment, right?
I did. It's on the thing. So, let's have a look at how this lip goes here. So the lip extends off the edge by just a couple of inches. So really, if we line this up with the straight edge here, that's probably going to be fine.
Forgo the plastic top.
I could forgo the plastic top. Alex asks if I wanted to do that. It would be perfectly fine to forgo the plastic top. I don't necessarily like these exposed screws. It feels a little janky to me. And to be honest, if I had my druthers, what I'd really like to do is actually make this may be a future project, but make a butcher block top for either my own or the office. Well, maybe I'll start at the office and then go home from there.
Yeah, because if you screw up here, then it's not at your house.
So what we're going to need now is the tower itself. So we need to know how much space it's going to take. So there's a time for measuring perfectly, and then there's a time for eyeballing. Interestingly, this is a difference in my tower versus the office's tower. If we have a look here at the bottom ring of the tower.
That's as tight as I can get.
Okay. My tower has a further cap that goes over top of it, hiding the exposed screws. I guess the office is just going to have to deal with exposed bolts. So
Pick pretty ones.
that's not
We could paint them.
actually makes things a little bit easier.
I can make them pretty.
So
got
let's
some metal
say
paint.
right about there seems good with me. Now, what I didn't bring with me is some marking utensils. Do we have
Like a grease pencil or something.
Scribe.
grease pencil would probably be best. Do you have anything like that,
Do
Heather?
an all.
Mine's mostly
We have
chalk.
Lots of silver Sharpies.
Some silver Sharpies would be helpful. I mean, I could just scrape the top, but if we wanted to go plastic coverless, I don't want to necessarily damage the thing.
Fill time.
Actually, you know what? Now that I realize it, I don't even need to worry about filling. I just need to make one mark. Because if we're going to butt up right against the edge of this, against the edge of the plastic bit, then we don't need to worry so much about the other edges. While that's happening, oh hey, stuff I found.
Good to take that out.
There's
before you attach it.
a plastic O-ring. That'll make sure that there's a nice seal there.
Yeah, leaky tap tower is probably a bad idea.
Again, double thinking through my through the project, which is what we're doing here. Thank you very much.
One of those should work.
Yeah, one of those will definitely work. We'll give those back when we're done. Gonna need a notebook next time because we're gonna have to write some stuff down to remember it. And so the screws in here, the bolts, they're actual screws. So that's going to be a problem because they're not going to be able to grip onto anything, which may or may not be an issue depending on how far they need to go in. I don't think we want to tap the actual. Well, I don't have the tools to make an actual tap into
What is the potential problem if they don't work?
Well, the potential problem is if they don't have anything to grip onto, the minute you pull a beer by pulling back on the tap, you're just going to rip it right off. Which is a fair problem, I'd say.
Yeah.
Well, that will have to be a problem for future Ian to solve. 'Cause
Oh, future Ian's gonna be so mad at you.
we're going to need to make some notes, though. We'll have to go out on an expedition to buy either some bolts for these screws, or some entirely new bolts and nut combinations. But that's all right for now. Let's mark off where we need to make our drills. So the front edge is going to be that. This thankfully serves as a straight edge. And thankfully, I'm not sure if you'd be able to see it, even if we brought the camera in.
You want to try?
But let's just tip that over here. If you look at the top here, you can see that the dust that got under the plastic screw left a line on the top of the fridge. It's probably too fine to see on stream, but trust me, it's there. We may actually have a center point directly into which to drill anyway. Let's mark that. Okay. So we've got that edge, which I assume we want to be the edge of here. Let's take a measurement. Burp. Measure that in. That is 11.5 centimeters. So let's,
Using the proper measurement.
because we're metric. I'll have a look at those bolts in a second. We have some bolts in the office here, a big ton of them. One of them might work, one of them might not. We'll never know.
We'll never know.
I forgot what I was measuring. This is called measure twice, cut once. Or measure twice, remember once. 11.5.
To write this stuff down on?
A whiteboard might work out. We're figuring things out as we go along.
Don't Don't give him things that help him. I want to watch him struggle.
Okay, that's whoop. Goodbye. Retracting tape measures, not always the most helpful. Okay, 11.5.
And as Pariah Wolfen has pointed out, the chat can remember things for you.
But you're on a delay. All right, so 11.5. That's 10 point. Well, you know what? I don't do math in my head because if when I do, I make a mistake.
What are you doing? 11.5.
Divided by 2.
5.75?
That's 5.75. I trust you, but
No, it's fair. Checking is fair.
yeah.
But
Yeah, a whiteboard would be handy. I wonder if I could find one of those anywhere around here. Whoa! Thank you, Alex. Okay. Oh my. Now watch us not need one for the rest of the show.
I'm waiting for you to write on it in permanent marker, actually.
Oh, yeah, in gold marker.
All right. That seems close enough. Thankfully, we're not dealing with something that requires extreme precision, just mostly precision.
Not extreme precision, but mostly precision.
So we have our mark. And,
Go through the electric.
and well,
Yes, Ian, how are you not going to go through the
well,
electrics?
what we're going to do is we're going to drill a pilot hole.
Is that the hole for the pilot to go through to find out if the rest of the crew can come?
Well, it's a hole that we drill to make the drilling the actual hole a little bit easier on the equipment, and also to guide our drill. Satan, guide my drill. So I guess what we'll do is see if the electrics are in that area when we do it. Again, I'm confident that if I do drill through the electrics, I can fix it.
Okay. I mean, it's not plugged in.
Yeah,
you should not be electrocuted.
It is not plugged in.
Go inside the fridge and look up and tell you when you're drilling down.
How about the chat go inside the fridge?
Actually, you could measure
You know,
to that point from the inside and see where it is.
actually, if I remember correctly, I think I know why I'm confident in doing this. Well,
I have a theory.
here's the reason why,
Please
is
tell
that
me.
appliance makers are cheap AF, and they're not going to use any more wire than is necessary. And the circuit from here has to pass through here, which means the shortest path is to go up and then straight to the side and then down. Why would you go up and then all the way back through the center and then back come around up the side to the switch?
Well,
That's the theory I'm going for as to why I think I'm right.
I'm excited.
You have
Yes, it is.
Okay.
a theory about something you thought of previously.
Yeah, plastic.
Is it plastic?
It's plastic. It's metal on the top, plastic on the inside,
Okay.
and styrofoam in the middle.
But we couldn't use the stud detector to detect the wires.
No, stud detector would not help in this. So here's my hole drill. We're not going to use that just yet because we need to drill ourselves a pilot hole, which means getting out the drill bits. Now these are Corey's drill bits, so I'm not going to use those because I might ruin them.
Why did you bring Corey's drill bits
Well,
if you were afraid to ruin
I brought
them?
all my drill bits.
I mean, that's fair, but why bring Corey's if you're afraid to wreck them?
These ones seem terrible,
This has gone
and
downhill.
this one I definitely used before to drill into metal, so let's go with that one.
You are going to put on safety glasses.
Yes, no worries there. Safety
I
first.
asked for the chat. They worry about you constantly.
I've said before to people around here that it's only a matter of time before we end up drawing blood on this program. Hopefully it's not the first episode.
Drawing blood is fine. You're not allowed to have career-ending footage on this program. I reserve that right for LT.
Nope. There we go.
I've lost some confidence in you knowing how to use a drill.
Get in there. All right, tighten up. And we are going in the other direction. There we are. All right. Are we ready?
Sure.
Oh, we're ready, all right.
We're ready. Are you? You're the one who has to be ready.
Let's get all the angles in here that we might want. And here we go. No looking back now. I think that's the right direction.
That drill bit looked like it was bending.
That was the opposite direction. But that's okay. Much better. Okay. Well, that looks fine. That seems fine.
Do you want to check on the other side?
I don't think it was actually deep enough to go through all the way. So let's have a look.
Yeah, I'll hold that.
Oh yeah, that didn't even make it all the way through.
All right. We didn't quite get there.
So
Okay.
let's see if I can find out where I am.
Can Ian figure out where he is? This and more exciting there.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be fine. That's gonna be perfect. Okay, now comes the more fun part. So, for those curious, this is a Clark 3/8 speed variable drill. It's a Princess Auto special. I have no idea who made it or where it came from,
Auto.
but I bought it from Princess Auto because it'll be infinitely returnable. Well,
that is true.
People laugh in studio, but one of the best things about Princess Auto in Canada is that they have unlike Craftsman, who makes quality tools and have a lifetime warranty, Princess Auto just offers a lifetime warranty. And the tools may be of dubious quality, but they'll usually get the job done, and then if they break, well, they'll stand by it.
I mean, they'll take anything back.
Yeah. To be honest, just
Forever.
if you are getting some tools for yourself, look for a warranty. Craftsman's lifetime warranty actually applies to even used tools, so going around to yard sales to pick those up, not a bad idea. There's a question from inside the room.
That fridge is made by Danby, which is a Canadian company as well.
This fridge is made by Danby, which is a
Just voided the warranty.
Canadian company. Oh yeah, the warranty
The
is
warranty is probably long dead on this fridge.
the warranty is super void right now.
Let's be honest. The warranty was probably void after it needed to be cleaned.
So
We're keeping it very home and native land around here, which is nice.
I specifically bought this hole saw actually for the purpose of making a kegerator. I'm glad I'm getting a second use out of it.
The hole big enough?
All right. Oh yes, this hole is big enough to pass through the double hoses necessary, and actually just big enough
Thank
for
you,
the
Alex.
double hoses.
I'm so glad you're prepared.
So that way we don't need to worry about too much space for air or for cold air to leak out through the top hole.
Sounds good. Well, we're ready for anything.
Yep. Here we go. Hole part 2. This is going to be the noisy and tough one because we're basically sawing through sheet metal. I should probably put on some ear protection for this. I think Bede might be wearing
Beach is
mine.
wearing it.
Bede should probably put on some hearing protection for this. Put the cords away that might get tangled. All right, are we all ready for this?
Yep.
Wait, let's try to be straight, because there is no level on the back of this drill.
Well, so far, disappointed.
Yeah, It feels like this might be off center, but
That is hell off center. Is the chuck engaged properly?
yeah, it should. The chuck seems to be engaged just fine. Let's pull it out a bit. Re-engage that. Ooh, that
Whoa.
is.
Is it bent?
It might be a little bent.
So, you gonna go forward anyway?
Yeah,
Ever onward.
yep. It did it once before. It'll do it again. This hole does not need to be neat. It just needs to happen.
You also didn't have that seated in the pilot hole.
Ah, that could be a problem too.
Oh.
There we go.
Yay! Bye.
We're starting. Aha.
Is that in forward gear?
Yep. The other problem is that this likes to come apart.
High speed.
Oh, the mandrel slips.
Yep, that's okay.
Ian, why do you buy the things that are dangerous?
Buy the things that are
Well, I
dangerous.
assume there are safe versions of the things you have.
Oh, no, no. This just needs to be tightened up. So we're going to do that.
It will shake.
I'm amazed that you guys let me do anything at all around here.
Well, I mean, this is a pilot, right?
I mean,
Let.
I could try to stop you, or I could hide in a corner and watch for amusement purposes.
I'm wondering what the best way to
Second
attack.
option seems more preferable.
I'm just gonna sneak behind you and swipe all
Tighten it
these
up like the
boxes.
graphics on level 3.
What's in there, foam?
There's foam in there, yes. That'll be the
Thank you,
insulation.
Alex.
Foam and hopefully no wires. Okay, that feels like it's a good fit. Maybe one more. Yeah, one more down. Nope. One more bigger. I'm trying to attach a socket to the end of this thing. A socket may not be the best tool for the job, but it might do it. All right. Socket is definitely not going to fit it. So we'll just use this adjustable head wrench and then find the actual wrench to tighten it up with.
Chat has confirmed no wires yet. I don't know how they know that unless they're in the fridge.
Oh, I just I stuck the light cam down the hole.
Oh, good stuff.
Down the
Good call. Thank you, Graham. Huh. I think we have another wrench in the office. Could somebody, Heather,
Yes?
would you be so kind as to go check, grab James's toolbox?
Where is it?
It should be on the shelf in the other, in the mount costume.
Okay. I do have to disconnect
Yeah.
my mic.
Yep, the adjustable wrench.
Alex is getting it.
Thank you, Alex. We're learning a lot about how to do a not how-to show today. I think it's going well. What do you think? Let us know in the actual real-time comments, which are probably over there.
comments so far have been very positive.
Thank you.
Yep.
Glad to hear it.
They're also very concerned for Graham's safety in the room.
Oh, I'm not going to be here while he's drilling, you nuts.
Here we go.
This is the splash
I just
zone
wanted
right
to
here.
line the camera up. And clip it to the thing so it doesn't vibrate
Oh,
off the top of the
that's a
fridge.
good idea.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to shake.
Well, yeah, but it won't fall.
Yeah.
Lefty
Everybody else
loosey.
sick.
Righty tighty. Tighty. Okay, good. We're all tight. Tighten up.
Spoobifer is a ghost. Spoobifer cannot die.
This is the
Spoobifer
music.
needs not goggles.
All right. This is Archie Bell and the Drells, and this is the music we tighten up to.
Sure. I'm sure that was a joke that I did not understand.
We ready for another go? I am.
Let's do it.
There we go. We got a great angle with this one now.
These goggles are super sweaty.
Wait.
Graham does not want to be in a
Graham
room for
wants
this.
to be out of the room. I don't blame him.
Yes! Yes, drill at him, yes!
Whoa.
That's normal.
Is it?
We need some lube.
That's the phone, isn't it?
No, that's metal.
You can smell it.
Yep. Oh, this is exciting.
Oh, wow.
Okay, we're going to need to tighten up again, but this
I
time
fucked it.
I don't want to touch it because it's going to be hot AF.
We're gonna give that a little timeout.
Oh wow! Look at the thing that you did.
Yeah,
Here, I'll
I'm good, thank you.
it's like you want.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good shot there. Yeah. You can't quite see how scorched it is just there.
Yeah, it's got that color of metal that has become hot.
Why is the cut so wide?
It's off center. It's from China.
Oh.
Which part?
All of us.
Not the fridge.
No, this part, this
fridge is
part,
Canadian.
this part. I don't know that they had a brand name to start with, but
Hey, do you want to vacuum this now or later?
we'll get to the vacuuming when we're done. But this
I'm
metal.
getting mixed signals here.
This metal is not very thick. It's mostly cut off in one side. I see that we might need to apply a bit more pressure to another side. So we'll do that. It doesn't need to be a clean cut either. I'm going to cover this over with some silver insulation tape so that we don't get any condensation inside the edge of the fridge before we turn it on anyway.
Do you want drilling oil?
Nope.
Do we have it?
We just probably have to use an oil of some sort.
I don't see a need for an oil. This is
Just give her.
it's working. This is not high precision. This is not good.
Just finish your sentence right there. That's
This is happening. Is what's going on.
okay. Here we go. Oh wow, that
And Mandrel's upset.
That did not.
does not care for your shenanigans.
Yeah, I think I need to give it a real reef with those pliers.
Chat would like you to know not to breathe in the metal dust. They would like you not to die from internal bleeding.
Don't breathe the metal dust. Got it. Thank you, chat.
Very good safety advice from the chat.
Do we
They're
have
on
those paper
point.
towels?
Yeah.
Wonder if I should give this a quick cleaning in there, just because there's some powder that's built up. I think. Thank you, Alex. Glad to have so many friends for the inaugural episode. How are we doing for time here?
It is 7 o'clock.
We're doing good. We're doing good. All right, get some of that powder out of there. That powder of unknown origin, probably paint.
I will remind the chat that, as Ian has said before, we will do things wrong, and we will still do them.
You'll do things extremely wrong. This is, I'm certain, I am absolutely certain, this is not how you're supposed to be doing things.
Well, some people are saying that you have a wood bit
Oh, that could be
as opposed to a metal.
a problem. It might be that I didn't actually find a wood bit to begin with,
Or a metal bit.
or metal bit. No, I think this is.
I mean, that's not going to stop you.
It's
We've already
gone through.
started.
It's gone through before. Actually, when I purchased this this drill, I did consider it to be disposable.
You're only ever going to make one hole.
Yeah, I was only ever going to make one hole, and now I'm on hole 2. All right. That way.
So Corey tells us this happened last time.
Corey,
It worked last time.
Corey mentions this happened last time. This is something I don't like doing, but
Oh god.
okay.
I wouldn't look at that.
There we go. That feels tight.
Trying to get in front of that.
Okay, we only need to get through one. Oh, okay. This is cool. Let me get the
It's on
the
the
tiny
fridge.
camera, because you can actually see in a few places where the metal has given way to,
So we're almost through.
yeah.
Could ream this out with a hacksaw blade.
Yeah, that's the thing we could do.
Now, if I remember correct, I'm trying to remember if I actually went ahead and went from the bottom last time. And that might not be a bad idea, too.
You didn't make it through the whole way with your pilot.
That's a good point. I didn't make it through all the way with my pilot, says Alex.
Ever onward.
Oh well,
Just keep
we're doing
going.
this. Already? Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Oh yeah! We have metal. Metal removed. Metal removed. Okay.
That's a 100 yen coin.
Wow. That was definitely insulation burning, so I think we all have cancer. I'm sorry, everyone. Oh, wow,
Ian,
that's some...
Why would you bring cancer to the first
That
show?
is sharp and not pleasant looking.
Close up of that.
Ooh,
Yep.
that's a murdering disc.
That is some pig.
Some precision drilling work.
But that's also not very thick metal there, either.
Slice like a dam.
So we don't need to keep that, but maybe we will just as a memento. So now we go through the rest of it. But the rest of it is just plastic, so it's going to be real fast. Let's see here. Beej, you may want to shoot from below.
Don't tell me how to do my job.
Or, wait, pardon.
Yep,
excuse me.
go ahead, Beej.
Maybe we put this in the fridge.
Okay.
Hey, the disposable
Yeah.
camera.
There we
And
go.
Beach keeps doing what he's doing.
You want me to hold it?
I don't think you want to be anywhere underneath this, Alex.
I really don't.
Yeah.
How's that angle?
Hey, what's up?
Yep.
Wait, Alex, can I get your flashlight?
Sure can.
Hey.
All right.
Dude, this is footage from a snuff movie.
Clear out.
Graham,
Whoa,
run.
hold up. Hold up. Is that going through where?
Straight down.
I
6 inches from
think
the
that'll be in shot.
I think it'll be in
We'll
shot.
see.
We'll figure it
Run
out.
away, Graham.
The camera in the fridge might also fall over. Who knows?
Senpai, my drill is moving on its own.
So it's there.
Look, it's the drill that will pierce the plastic.
camera, Paul.
Hmm?
Start with my Beach's camera.
What?
Oh,
Hey!
yeah. It
Did we get
worked.
through? Yep, there
Yep.
it is. Get it. Get out.
Please move back to Ian's.
We've made a drill fridge.
Sir?
Reverse it. Put it in reverse.
That's not going to help.
Turn the chuck the other way.
It's
Turn the chuck.
Here, now get it out.
God damn it, Beach.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, there we go.
Hey!
We made it out. We made it together.
Where's the...
Did the bit fall off?
It
Yes.
fell into the
When I
fridge.
reversed the chuck,
That's why.
yes, it fell off in the fridge.
go.
Wow, that's thick.
Corey is losing her mind. Okay, so the good news is you didn't go through any of the
Yep, oh, I'm excited. Where's my USB camera?
What's it like being a sack?
Proof is in the pudding, or rather the proof of the pudding is in the tasting. The tasting in this case being the looking inside the hole and noticing there are no wires in that insulation. Yay!
Lucky!
No one's dead.
Let's
Yeah.
let's disassemble this drill so we can get the core sample out, because this will be fun to look at.
We should just suggest to Danby that they make all of their bar fridges with just a removable plug.
Well, the thing is, you can actually buy kegerators made of Danby fridges.
Sure.
Can I please vacuum this?
Alex would like to vacuum this, so maybe. Well, before we get to the vacuuming, I do want to get this core sample out so we can have a look at it, and then maybe we'll take a short break while we do some vacuuming.
Oh, that's what those holes are for.
I don't think that's what these holes are for, Alex.
No, I think it might be.
Ah,
Chet is also concerned about your lack of wearing gloves.
I am going to be
Gross back.
and gets filled with metal shavings. Yeah, I probably should have been wearing gloves for this.
I'm being offered money to force you to wear gloves, you know. Like,
I like count the rings to see how old it is.
1. This was made last year. It's the 2015 model.
Lefty-loosey, righty-tighty, right?
Yes.
Yes.
One.
This might not happen.
He's trying to lefty loose.
This might not happen. Okay.
Do you want to wrench back and forth?
No, actually, there's a safer way for me to do this.
Oh, is there?
Only a bit safer. In the meantime, yeah, let's go to commercial break. Let's wash my hands of this this metal dust and also vacuum it
Vacuum.
up, and then not die.
Yeah.
Alright, I've got the fridge. If you want to show it being vacuumed for any reason.
Okay, that was. Welcome back.
Yes.
So,
We're,
as you can see, we've changed tack a bit here, because we'd like to focus on more than just the crazy hardware end of things. We want to focus on all areas of creativity and projects. And so, Heather, what are you going to be? Well, before we mention that, I do want to mention that yes, we will be coming back to the Kegerator next time on Tinker Tailor. We're going to get that finished. But as we found out by going through what we did, successfully, I might add, we successfully got as far as we needed to. There are going to be some more materials that we're going to need to pick up, so this will give us a chance to get those materials, plan just a bit, but not too much, and hopefully we can get it all finished next time on the show. But for the rest of the show, Heather, what are you going to be walking us through?
Well, since mine is much less dangerous than yours, I've shed my lab coat.
Okay.
Because it's also warm in here. I'm going to make this hat. I'm going to make a pattern for it without taking it apart.
So you're actually going to make the hat today, or are you just going to make the pattern?
We'll likely only get through making the pattern.
Okay.
Hopefully the whole pattern. I read a book by about pattern making, and they call this the rub-off technique. I've never heard of it.
The rub-off.
Yep. So I'm actually going to use some interfacing to start.
Okay. Why interfacing?
Well, because they said to use pattern tracing fabric, and nobody seems to know what that is. So
I was going to ask, what's the difference?
Based on some pictures, I think interfacing will be the next best thing.
That was going to be my question. What is the difference between interface?
From what I've read online, I think pattern tracing fabric is meant to have more of a cling to it, so it's easier to drape over the fabric. It's also got a bit of a drape, so that if you want to put it on a mannequin, you can check the drape.
So basically, we're recreating what just happened a few minutes ago when I used what I now found out to be a wood saw. We're not exactly using the most correct material, but we are using a material that will work. Hey, that's a nifty piece of technology.
Have you never seen a magnetic pin holder?
I've had magnetic pin holders, but I've never had a bottom for one that held the pins.
Yeah.
It was just always magnetic. But that's now my favorite thing.
Pins I use actually are made of steel and glass. So the pin head is made out of glass.
Actual glass?
Actual glass.
Okay.
And the reason I use these pins as opposed to your cheap plastic pins, just for everything, is if you want to iron things, plastic will melt, glass will not.
I hadn't thought of that. I was thinking, oh, it's nice to treat yourself.
Well, there's that, but they serve a function.
That's
so
fantastic.
What I'm going to do here is pin this onto the hat.
Okay, because you don't want it sliding around, I assume.
Yeah, and then I'm going to attempt to trace it onto the fabric to get our piece. And I'm going to do this with everything if I can, under the guise that I don't have to measure a single thing. We'll find out how well that actually works.
Never stop cutting.
I've never done trying to make a pattern like this. I've done the method where you use basic formulas and measurements. And I'm pretty sure my teachers, some of them would not really appreciate what I'm trying to do.
So I was going to ask that as well. I mean, we got, during the last episode of Loading Ready Live, we got a chance to talk a bit about my crafting pedigree. Do you feel comfortable letting people know a bit more about yours?
Sure. I've been crafting since I was a kid. Just a variety of different things. Friendship bracelets, the types of things you do at camp.
Right.
Then I took up crochet and knitting when I was a little older. My mom taught me how to knit, sort of. She taught me the beginning steps to knitting, and then she got busy and didn't teach me how to get stuff off the needles, which is amazingly important when you're knitting. I learned crochet from a book.
I learned it from a book.
A variety of YouTube videos, because as long as you know what to look up, you can find some really good videos on YouTube for crochet. And then I went to Olds College in Olds, Alberta.
Right.
They've moved their campus to Calgary only now, I believe, for the costuming stuff. And I took costume making there. So I learned basic pattern drafting for upper and lower torso for women in my first year, because it's a class that's typically women.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did, in the second year when I did the costuming section, I learned some pattern drafting for men. I learned some basic sewing, which I kind of already knew, but it's always good to learn, especially when you're using industrial machines, to start from the basics again.
Right, right.
They go a lot faster.
So I'd assume when you're using you say industrial machines, you're talking some pretty good chance to hurt yourself.
Oh yeah, they've got, if you have long hair, you have to tie it back because it has an exposed wheel.
Oh wow.
And that will grab your hair, and it will not be a fun day for anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we actually had to take WMIS when we did the class as well.
Wow, so actual workplace
Yeah.
health and safety.
Yes, always had to wear safety goggles, no open-ended shoes.
How fast are the machines?
I don't remember how fast the machines
About
are.
1,000 stitches a minute or something?
Something like 1,000 stitches a minute? I'm really not absolutely sure. All right, so that it's a little off. Who cares?
Seam allowance.
I mean, it looks like you've probably got that close.
I've got that fairly close.
I've done some sewing myself in the past. I think you can probably make something.
Mostly close enough.
You can freehand that from there.
I can fudge stuff later. Again, another thing my teachers would not be happy with what I'm saying. I learned proper tailoring in a costume class, which is a little weird. So I brought a couple of different things to try. Where did I put? I don't know where my new one went.
Your methods of marking.
My methods of marking.
Yeah, you showed me one before we started the
Where
show,
did
and
that go?
that's disappeared on us
still
because
in
it was
here?
nifty.
It might be in my other bag.
But you do most of your crafting at home now, right?
I do. I mean, the only portable crafting I tend to do is crochet.
Okay.
Just because dragging a sewing machine around with you is not the best thing.
I only ask because over the past couple days I've lugged most of my tools into the studio, so I was wondering if you'd ended up doing the same thing.
Where'd the pencil I just had go? Oh, here it is. Well, I guess we could start with the water erasable marker. It should show up better on
Well, this is just a
camera.
pattern too, right?
Yeah. So I'm just gonna trace the outline. I mean, I guess I could technically do this with markers, but then I could actually, if I wanted to, I could clean the interfacing and still use it later. Paul was actually asking what interfacing was earlier when we were talking before the show. For those of you who don't know, interfacing, you'll find it in things like your collars, your wrist cuffs,
Right.
anything, your facings on your plackets. It's essentially just used to stiffen.
It's like the fabric equivalent of cornstarch.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm down with that.
it's to get stiffness. It's to make something more solid. So you'll also see it in bags. This is very light interfacing I got because I wanted something somewhat see-through for this.
Now you're holding that pretty taut against the seam line there.
Yep. I want to get my seam lines. I can add seam allowance to the pattern after. And really looking at the construction of this hat, I would say they serged part of it and not all of it. So some of it should have a seam allowance, which should start at least 1.5 centimeters. Because you can always cut down. It's not good to have too little seam allowance. But for serging, I believe it's 0.6 millimeters. If I'm remembering that right.
So what tells you that it was serged? And I guess for those not familiar with the term, what is the difference between serging and stitching?
Well, serging is done on a serger, but it's actually also called an overlock machine, which is just a different type of a sewing machine, in all honesty. And it takes the stitches, so if you have like a side, it goes over the side, and it uses 3 to 4 threads as opposed to just the 2 in a sewing machine. So that looks about right.
So it actually kind of cleans up the edge of the
Yeah,
stitch
well, they'll
folds.
also have a cutter, but you can
Okay.
also turn the cutter off.
Which is something I didn't know until just now.
Yeah, it's how you can do serging in the middle of stuff without the cutting happening. So I'm going to take all these pins out.
Clearly, we need to get Surge in on Surge.
I think Serge would approve of serging.
As long as you're not serging serge.
That, yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Again, you want to turn the cutting function off for that.
So, circle actually looks pretty
So
good.
that's wow, that's a good line.
Yeah, see if I can find an example of serging.
Try me.
Where did I find that? Is it here? No. I swear it had, here we go. Right in there.
Oh,
You can see that that's serged.
Hang on.
that's a harder.
Hang on.
It might be hard to see on the black and black.
There
but
we go.
This here is all
Okay,
serged.
so it's that nice, neat.
Yeah, it's
stitch.
I'm not really sure how the overlock does it. You can do a fake one on a sewing machine by having a zigzag stitch, and there's a specific foot that allows it to go off on the edge of the fabric.
Okay. Overlock and not overclock, the chat is.
Yes. I mean, you don't really want to overclock a sewing machine. Let me look at this construction, actually.
And I just found this picture. Is that what we're talking about there?
Yeah,
There we go.
that is indeed.
4-thread overlock.
Yeah, because you can do it with 3 as well.
I really like the color on that one though, because you get the contrast of different colors for different sides.
So now,
So what's next?
well, I have my hat top, which
Okay.
I should really just label. That's not gonna work. Whatever. Moving on. So I'm gonna do these side pieces. Now, I could do these as separate pieces, but I'm just gonna do it as one long piece, or yeah, maybe. Maybe not. Yeah, I guess I could put it as a fold.
We're really excited about overclocking your sewing machine.
I really would not recommend overclocking your sewing machine. Just get an industrial. Industrials are great. They only do,
One stitch.
generally they only do 1 stitch. They're meant to go very fast. Some of the newer ones are quite nice. All right. Let's get this. This piece actually, here, if you look at this side piece, is it varies in size. So you can tell that it starts at one size and
yeah.
then it actually gets a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
So if it didn't, and I wasn't doing this draping thing, what I could do is I could just measure and make a rectangle, like as if I was making a waistband.
Okay.
But I don't want to measure anything, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to pin it, I'm going to trace it.
I mean, only freehand as much as you need to, basically.
Yeah. The iPad die?
No, I locked it, and I don't know what the code is.
Oh, I could just unlock it for you.
It's okay.
Okay. Let's see, I also need to get...
Is it yours, son?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, he's going to use his phone now.
This is fine.
If you really mega lock my iPod, I will not.
But if I can get you to step to your right just a step. There we go. Now you're right in the middle of the camera.
This
I've
here.
forgotten what it was.
Yep, figured.
Sorry. I only did it twice.
Ever forward.
Ever forward. The next show we will show how to hardware crack an iPad.
No,
No
you will
hard.
not be using my iPad in that manner.
I can't say that we will specifically hardware crack anyone we know's iPad. Also, we won't do it with anyone we don't know. But I've always kind of wanted to build a machine to brute force a locked iDevice. Not because I wanted to actually unlock an iDevice, but mainly because I actually just want to build a robot to poke things.
So this method is supposed to work with all manner of 3D objects. So I saw it used on purses.
Okay.
Specifically things you don't want to take apart, because really if you want pattern pieces for anything, stitch rip, and then they all lay flat, and you can trace that way.
This would probably work really well for something like leather as well.
Yep.
Okay, which would be a lot more difficult to reassemble.
You probably wouldn't want to use pins on leather. I would imagine you would want to use, they make like stitch clamps for that.
So, Plummeting Sloth would like to know what style of cap you would call this. Because we know there's a lot of different names: newsboy, flat cap, driver's cap.
I believe they call this style a military cap. You can find them pretty well anywhere. I got this one at PAX Prime, not last year, but the year before, because it was sunny and I really wanted a hat.
Oh, so that's what the chicken is on the front. That's the behemoth.
Yeah, I got it from the Behemoth booth.
Ah, okay.
Because they were, I think there was another booth that was selling hats, but I didn't like the hat they had.
That explains a lot.
All right, where is my center line? Somewhere in there.
There was also a couple requests for you to put this pattern up somewhere once it's complete. Would that be possible?
I guess so. I'd have to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, we could scan it or something.
Yeah.
Need to find a
Oh,
big
no.
enough scanner for it, though, too, to make sure that we've got all the... Or translate it into Adobe Illustrator. I think that's when the last
that's
time I
right.
ended up freehanding a pattern, I did it mostly in Illustrator.
As opposed to freehand.
As opposed to Macromedia Freehand, which no longer exists. But it allowed me to build it at a certain size and then blow it up onto paper. And of course, it didn't turn out that well because I was using a bed sheet as material.
Yeah. What I saw with this form of pattern drafting as well is that when you how did I get that so wrong? Or is that wrong? Oh, yeah. I'm getting my pieces confused. You can, once you have a pattern of anything, you can alter it. So if you want to make something larger, I mean, it works better for things like purses or bags or things that don't need to be a very specific size when you're done them. But once you lay it out, you can make a cross section and just move the pieces apart and then make them.
Oh, I was wondering how you'd have to go about doing something like that, to enlarge it, if you'd have to enlarge each piece separately.
I mean, like if you really wanted to, you could probably scan it in and just enlarge that in that method. But if your pattern is already fairly large, chances are good you don't have a printer.
I mean, it seems also like a lot of possibly unnecessary work if it's just as easy as drawing around the edges of it by a set distance.
My piece actually ends here. You okay, Paige?
Yep.
Well, I guess, no, it's still day 1. I guess we can reset the thing to 0. All right.
So the Ice Hand of Death has a question that I'd like to answer as well.
What's that?
What you going to do for the brim?
I haven't fully figured that out yet. It feels like it's plastic on the inside.
Okay.
As opposed to
We do have a bunch of leftover plastic from the last project we did here.
Yeah, like it depends on how accurately I want to recreate this hat. Just because there is sewing through the plastic, and I don't think my sewing machine can take that.
if you wouldn't use plastic, what would you use?
I haven't really looked into it. I know Tally made a hat a while back where I think she used fabric, but then interfacing in between to make it really stiff, which seems like a pretty good tactic, honestly. I could potentially use cardboard, but then if it gets wet, that's a problem.
Right.
And I don't want to do that. I'm curious I could put plastic in it and just not sew
Through the plastic.
through the plastic.
Buckram?
There's probably some.
Buckram. Buckram also works. That is a material made for making hats. And I have some of that left over from school.
There's probably some pretty thin plastic you might be able to use.
I would want to use a thinner plastic, I think.
Got all that foam.
I'm not using foam beige.
Speaking of fabric, what do you have an idea for what you're actually going to make the hat out of? This new hat?
For on stream, I haven't decided yet. I should go with a similar fabric. In this case, just something woven, because I'm making a pattern off of something that's used woven fabric, and therefore won't have the same grains as a stretchy fabric.
Those are kind of the two categories.
Woven and knit.
Woven and knit.
This interfacing is neither.
This is very.
It's not,
It's like
because you can get woven interfacing, you can get knit interfacing. Knit has a stretch to it. This
really just feels like a dryer sheet.
Pressed. Essentially, it's kind of, I think, the same way they make rayon. I could be getting that wrong.
We have votes for tweed, Kevlar, a nice twill. My personal my personal request is for Tyvek.
Carbon fiber.
Oh, Tyvek might be interesting.
Carbon fiber is the cool thing.
I mean, I have a thing I'd like to make this out of, but that's for something else that's secret.
Oh.
But I will be making this fully.
Bright green, then just your hair.
Oh, wow,
Top of
yeah,
your
I
head will
could-
disappear.
Yep, just disappear.
Green screen hat.
And you can stitch a yellow Triforce on it too.
That's true. I could make it all Zeldy. Yeah, that's the same on this side, so that's okay. I only need to do this once.
Thank goodness for symmetric patterns.
They are nice. I could technically take out the middle seam they've put on the front of the hat and just make it one piece by placing this on a fold, if I wanted to. There are some parts to this hat I won't be able to recreate because I don't want to do them by hand, and that's the only method I have.
Oh. Such
Let me
as?
get these pins off, and I will show you what I mean. Without poking myself. These are new pins, so they're not infected by anything. Hey, they're made of metal. They can go into your bloodstream.
They certainly, yeah, sometimes we have to get hepatitis and not know why.
I have, my dad is actually freaked out by pins on the floor because we have a cousin or something who stepped on one and it went into their bloodstream. So,
I would
you know,
be too, and
safety.
I also have, I have stepped on pins of my own, so I can understand
yeah,
that.
like the red cross thing here, I could recreate that. That's just stitching.
Yeah.
But these parts here
Oh,
that are embroidered,
almost buttonhole-esque.
I don't think my machine can handle that. I could do it by hand.
Oh,
I don't particularly want to. The chicken is also embroidered,
Right. but-
so I won't be recreating that. But like if you see here, there's a seam right here for this piece. That is likely for saving on fabric, so that you don't have longer strips.
And you don't need to do that.
But I don't have to do that. We'll see. It's gonna be. I'll probably just make that facing piece without. Yeah, that looks all the same. I don't think I'll need to trace that.
What do you mean when you say facing piece?
The facing piece is this part of the hat on the inside. You'll find them on collars. They're essentially also in plackets on dress shirts. It's a way of finishing this edge by having something that comes inside.
Okay.
Because otherwise this would all be a raw edge.
And you wouldn't want
Or you
that.
flip it in and you could do that, but then that's not as neat.
It's a weird hemming thing.
So let's see, I've done this. Will this show up better? I'll need 2 of these. I want to make a note of that.
No, I don't think that's... I think we've chosen colors that are...
I actually thought this pen was purple. So I was wrong. I didn't mean to pick the pen that was full of blue.
That's...
I swear I have a purple one.
Turns out that that pastel color is not so great on white for cameras.
Yeah, who knew? I mean, I'm sure someone did it. Apparently it wasn't me.
So you got the front bit, you've got the...
Yeah, so I've got the top bit here, I've got this front piece here, which will also cover this piece. I need to get this band piece. They've done it all as one, so I'm gonna do it all as one.
Okay.
I mean, I'm gonna mark where they've put these, so that if I want to, I can also put a seam there.
Right.
For recreation purposes. And then I'm gonna have to do the brim.
Should be interesting.
Because actually, I think of it, the facing piece is going to be exactly the same as this one. So, yeah,
So you
two
get two at
more
once.
pieces. I should probably also do something about this Velcro, but I don't really think I need to because I could probably just freehand that completely.
You can make it so you're the only one it fits.
I could do that.
Who needs an adjustable hat?
A beautiful fitted cap.
Oh, there's like 6 layers of fabric right here.
Ooh. Surprised people are saying that I tried to kill a fridge.
Well,
It was an operation, and the operation was a success. We successfully trepanned that fridge.
is the fridge still functional right now?
Well, we haven't plugged it in.
Well, then you don't know for sure, do you?
It's true.
You could be dead.
Meanwhile, Heather is stabbing a poor hat over and over and over.
Hey, you don't know what this hat likes.
I wouldn't call this a stab so much as a what is this, naturopathic medicine?
Yeah.
Sure.
Naturopathic medicine mixed with an odd breeding program. When you are attempting to recreate it.
Well, eventually this hat, like it's got a lot of sun beating down on it, so it's worn at the front top. It's actually quite brown instead of black now. It's getting old.
And you need to keep a replacement in the freezer for when the old one dies.
Just like dogs.
Beach.
Acupuncture.
Ooh, hat acupuncture.
Acupuncture is
Ooh.
good.
Actually, I guess I will ask the chat directly. Zeke, I do not know about the rules about fridges and putting them on their sides and plugging them back in. Is that something that shouldn't happen?
Generally, electronics are made to be set a certain way and not placed in
There's a
other.
thing about the coolant.
Yeah, with fridges, the coolant gets pools on one side. So if you turn on its side, you gotta leave it standing up normally for a while before you plug
Okay.
it back in.
See, there's a very good reason for me to not have put it on
So-
its side when I was making my changes.
I'm going to make a change here. I'm going to find where they put the center seam in the top piece and make that a center seam on this one and make this a fold out piece that I put on a fold instead of going all the way around the hat. Because it's uniform. They just did not put a center line here. So I'm going to. And that should technically work. As long as it's squared properly, which, I'm freehanding, so
We're
it's
gonna
probably
find
not.
out.
I like that you're using a lot of the same language that Ian was using. And yet somehow, because you're doing, your thing doesn't have like power tools involved.
No one's freaking out.
Yeah, it seems much more relaxed.
It's a calmer experimentation. There's still a lot that could go wrong here.
Oh, absolutely. But I don't have to fix any electronics.
It's true. There's the fixing of this project, should anything go wrong, would be a lot less involved. I'm surprised though that you're just freehanding those lines. That's kind of amazing.
In proper tailoring, there are certain things you really should not freehand. At least according to my teachers.
Seams?
Some of them are wrong.
Or inseams rather.
Well, I mean, anything you mark down tends to be a seam. But there are some things, generally hip curves, even with a French curve or a hip curve tool, you end up freehanding.
Rockabye.
That's why you make toiles of things, which is essentially just a mock-up, generally made out of muslin or a different fabric if you need a different drape.
Not to distract, but do you have a French curve with you?
I do.
French curve that's also a lance.
This is a French curve. This is the curve. It looks like a club.
And it's made of aluminum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's so special about a French curve?
It's literally just for curves of like the hip area.
It's just
It's so you
is a
get
French curve always the same curve? It's
Y-
just it happens to work out that everyone is around that shape.
I have two different curve rulers. They are both very different. It's you make weird when you do pattern drafting for your hip curve. You actually make like 3 different pinpoints on a thing, and then you try very hard to make the French curve make them line up to get the curve.
Oh.
Is what you're supposed to do, and then you freehand it to make it work.
It's very similar to a drafter's French curve then?
That
Might be the same
is
thing.
a drafter's French curve. Do you mean like an engineer?
Yeah,
or?
yes.
I couldn't tell you. I didn't take those classes.
Well, when you're sewing, it comes in pink.
Actually, it comes in red and it comes in a grid, a lot like this. Not all my sewing tools come in pink beige.
Lysander Gustav points out the same thing that I was actually thinking, that that French curve looks very Southern Water Tribe-ish.
This looks a little weird. I'm gonna just fudge it up a little. That's maybe more accurate.
You're just going to fix your pattern.
Maybe. I don't know if that's fixing it. I'm just making a note. That doesn't... Sure. Good enough. Brim.
Okay. This should be easy.
You don't have to stab pins through a brim, Ian,
No, I just had to stab something through something very hard.
with the wrong tool. We're good at this.
Your seam allowance tools.
It's called a seam gauge.
Thank you.
So yeah, at what point in this process do you bring out the hole saw?
I don't use hole saws, generally. I guess I could try to. I don't know what portion of this I would need one for.
Some shot of the carnage.
And this is the problem with the brim, Ian, that I'm starting to see here, is actually the curve.
Oh. Yeah,
It's
I get-
causing some bunching.
because you need to
I need to,
make sure that it's tight on there before you get to start pinning it, because it's...
yeah. This could be weird.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, is this not something you could actually do without pinning it? But just flatten it to the interfacing and then just trace the out edge?
If I wanted to do it the easy way, probably.
Well, okay.
I don't know if I could or not. I haven't tried that.
No, I'm not going to say...
It's a way you it's a good way to do clothes, like skirts, and you actually would do that against paper. You wouldn't use fabric then.
Yeah.
You flatten it out. You make a line on the just like a straight line, so you can put your center seam on it.
When it comes to things like hat brims, they usually make them flat and then you form them, don't you? Like you steam them and stuff like that?
You wouldn't for this.
You might have to say that again for the sake of the microphone.
Beej was asking for hat brims if you normally steam them into shape, like you make them flat, and you do for certain ones, like felt hats are made that way. You use a hat form for that. You wouldn't really.
Specialty tools.
The brim itself, I think, is typically freeformed. I haven't done that much millinery.
I'm getting the feeling you're probably going to end up making adjustments to that line once you flatten it out, but I think this is going to give you some good
This is not bad though.
guidance.
It's a little bunched. It'll be fine. It's the brim. It doesn't have to fit on my head. I can make adjustments to this.
Yeah.
Hodor's Haberdashery, somebody has
Oh.
proposed, which is a pretty solid name.
That is a pretty solid name.
Although apparently millinery is really the
Proper term.
proper term. Haberdashery is more.
Just the sellers of that.
I believe so.
Gnerd has a question too, a two-part question that I can only half answer. They want to know when's the episode when you get out the power tools and I do the sewing. I know I'll do the sewing when it comes time to do more garb for the SCA. What do you have any projects that are going to require power tools?
I probably have some on my list that I've completely forgotten about because I always add to the list and forget to look at it. I kind of wanted to do, for a while, I wanted to do plastic forming, which I'm sure we can't do here.
I'll never say never.
I did just see an ad, a review today for a desktop vacuum former. So
Really?
yeah,
Can you forward with me that?
I will
Do you
see
know
if
where it is?
I will see if I can hunt it down again.
We're going to need a bigger house.
I mean, quite frankly, the best thing about vacuum forming too is that's what you do use to make the Stormtrooper armor.
I kind of wanted to make hard form luggage
Ooh.
in better ways.
You know, there are instructions on how to build your own vacuformers.
That could be fun too. I'm up for this.
Mm-hmm.
You need to melt the plastic with an oven, though, right?
No, you don't need to melt the plastic with an oven. You can use a heat gun. Maybe.
It's like
We'll find out.
I have this very deadly pin.
Wow. You
set
have... Do not
going
put
on
that
there.
hat on.
There's
We need to
so
show
many
a camera.
pins.
Take a camera.
Here. Let's try this one.
Wait. See that?
It's a bit...
Dark.
Let's see if we can glint off those pins at all.
Oh yeah, that's a real.
That is not a good flashlight. I can see why Alex was here earlier. Oh well. There are a lot of pins sticking inside this hat, and it is dangerous to put on.
Imagine that scene from, I think it's the season finale of season 2 of Star Trek: The Next Generation, where Riker's getting all those needles poked into his head. That's what Heather has created.
Mm-hmm.
I will not be having dreams of that tonight. No.
All right. So this should be the last piece we actually need. I didn't grab like the Velcro parts at the back, but from the looks of it, they're just tiny pieces of rectangles.
You could make those however you wanted.
So I don't think I need to trace those. I just need to navigate my hand around these pins from underneath while I trace this.
Blindly, I might add. In fact, for the flaps at the back, you'd probably want to adjust in size to the size of the Velcro you're using.
That's true.
There's one thing I don't like. It's an unfinished Velcro edge.
I'm gonna want to do that. I might want to use that as the just not put that in when I make a mock-up of this,
You could make a buckle.
just to see. I do tiny buckles. That sounds fun.
Ooh, you get out my riveting hardware.
You have a riveter?
Yeah, it's one of the Bang Hammer ones. I have an anvil here.
Oh, we could have a lot of fun with this hat.
What are you planning to bang into the hat, Heather?
Just everything. Maybe I'll make a straw poll. Who knows? Okay.
All right. Let's get those pins out of there and have a look at that.
This is also why magnetic pin holders are nice. I don't have to put them into a thing on my wrist and be super safe about it, because that's what the magnet is for.
Found one?
My hand is finding all these pins.
Did it draw blood?
No, totally did not. No, that was not painful enough for blood draw.
Good, that's one episode down.
Episode's not done yet.
I mean, you had the higher chance of getting hurt here, Ian. I don't expect to get hurt during my crafting. I do not expect to get hurt.
It's a big old smile right there.
Oh, Koro Sensei. Assassination Classroom.
I'm aware of the work.
I know you don't watch it,
Yeah.
so I wasn't sure if you were aware of the in-joke I was making.
I appreciate your explanation.
Shore that up a little. Yeah, it should be okay. I can make adjustments to this on the... All right. Got the top, I got this piece, I've got this piece, I've got brim. Those pieces I don't care about.
Inside band.
Inside band will be the same
As the
as this
outside band?
one. Because,
Yep.
I mean, it's a little bit taller, but I can just make that taller
Yeah,
if
you
I
just
want,
extend it.
or I can just make it that size. Your facing generally doesn't need to be huge. The only time your facing really matters is if you're making a placket on, like, a coat. This probably doesn't have... Oh, it's got one. It's not got, like, an actual thing, but they've turned it in because it's more cheaply made. But the reason you want your facing on a coat to go that far over is for your buttonholes,
Okay,
because it's going to have to go through that.
great.
But I won't have that issue with this hat.
So that's the pattern.
Yeah, what time is it?
That takes us up to the hour. So, do you think you will be working on this next episode?
I could. I could cut the pattern out. I could put it on paper beforehand, and we could do. Actually, I depending on, like, I don't know if the chat wants to watch me put this on paper and then just cut out the pattern pieces, so I could do all that and then just go right to the sewing.
But we will be seeing this hat through to completion?
Yes.
Well, that's enough there. So I guess that brings us to the close of the first episode of Tinker, Tailor, Solder, Fry.
I do want to bring up one thing.
Please.
Tracing this out onto paper is going to be essentially just putting this on top of some kind of paper. I use craft packing paper because it works fine and it's cheap. And then I use a tool like this that has like those bumpy ends
And you just-
to trace, but I can also cheat and use this by turning these blades sideways. So what this does
that creates
is
your...
when I trace the one line with the thing, what I've done is I've spaced this one out to do my seam
so
allowance.
it's perfect all the way through.
Yeah. So I don't have to spend forever using my seam gauge going around and checking my seam allowance.
That's not cheating. That's smart.
So that saves time.
Wow.
I do highly get one of these.
I think I need to source one of those. So with that then, that brings us to the end of the inaugural episode of Tinker, Tailor, Solder, Fry. I want to thank Heather Deary for joining me this week, working on the hat. We're about halfway through, and as I said earlier, we'll be going back and hopefully finishing up the Kegerator next episode. If not, we'll just keep on plugging away at it until we get that up and flowing. I'd like to thank everyone for watching so far, and I'd like to remind everyone that you can support all of our shows here on the mighty Loading Ready Live by going to patreon.com/loadingreadyrun.
Can we do a thank you to all our subs?
Yes, please.
I believe that's customary.
Yeah, they.
I would like to know about them.
So they. We'll do a little. They should be popping up on the screen there. I don't know if you'll be able to read it from that far away, but see if you can.
See what I can do.
And we'll see what we can do. So thank you everybody who
Astrophonian.
subscribed.
Atrophonian.
Atrophonian, thank you for subscribing. Gekryu, thank you for Gekyoru, thank you for subscribing. We do appreciate the support.
Badum Tish.
With the 19-month resubscription, thank you for the resub. Professor Pester, 4 months, thank you so much for your support. Mr. Pudding Maker, the 8-month resub, we appreciate your continued support. As well as yours, Roman Goro. 18 months and a big thank you.
Juliamon. Woo, 11 months. Thank you for your resubscription.
Pwaltix, thank
P-Wall,
you
Texas.
for the 7-month resubscription.
Coat Cobalt.
Captain Cobalt.
Captain. Oh, sorry, I couldn't see the P.
Tangents.
Yeah.
And Cyclops Boy. Here he comes
Boy.
with that new sub. EB Music Man 84, thank you so much for your resubscription. And Spectacles. Always good to see a resub from the Greek contingent. Swede Chef with a 9-month resub all the way from the Nordic countries. And Canadian Rob, represent. With the 11-month resub. CD Utsen, or C. Dutson, with the 6-month resubscription, thank you. And Godk, thank you so much with that 21-month resub. Magnusson,
Magnus 1.
Magnus 1, not as French as I made it sound. Jocule Hop, 1234 with the 32-month resubscription.
Oh,
Evil Smurf, 28 months. Thank you for your support. And
Nazragul.
Nazragul with a 9-month resubscription. Thank you as well. JDVM 1017, 2-month resub. That's a lot of numbers. Fierce Tiger 4. Thank you.
I can't wait for that video game to come out. Hondor 64.
That's so
60
close.
months.
Cosmo Rules with a 34-month resubscription. Thank you for your support. Chrono2X with the 20-month resubscription. We appreciate your continued support. And Zanzibar _, with
28
the 28-month
months.
resubscription. We thank you. And that looks to be the run.
Yay.
So thank you again so much for watching. Check us out at loadingreadyrun.com for all the great shows. And we will see you in 2 weeks' time for another Tinker, Tailor, Solder, Fry.
And tomorrow, we've just to let everyone know that we have updated the time on it. Tomorrow will be New Day Tuesday, starting at noon. So starting at 12 o'clock PDT, that'd be noon, not midnight. So thanks
Very
everybody
important.
for watching.
Good night.